Chef Brent Sinanan is my name at the Moderne restaurant on Arapita Avenue. Welcome to ChefChat. So I started cooking in the 90s and then went to Le Cordon Bleu in London, graduated and came back to Trinidad in 1999, and I did a stint at Cuisine for 9 years as the head chef at Cuisine after 2 or 3 smaller head chef jobs around. Left Cuisine in 2009 and did basically went into consultancy, opening restaurants or trying to help restaurants and other properties, hotels and so on. So I did a stint at the Carlton Savannah as well for about a year, and then most recently the Regent Star Hotel out at the airport. I've done maybe about 33 properties in the last 5 years, as either openings or startups and upgrades and so on. I have to say that when I came back here in '99, we had a period of maybe about 5 years, a run of about 5 years, where I think the market was very open, really open to trying new things, and so the chefs at the time, Joe Brown was the start. Really was the kind of godfather to the rest of us that came back in the late 90s, which would have been like Khalid Mohammed and Angelo, and at the time there was Gerard Mouillet at Alabastille and so on. And I think chefs really got to push the envelope. They got to really push, be a little bit creative and so on for a little while. But I really have to say that from 2005 that changed, and the market started focusing, maybe with I don't want to blame anybody, but maybe with the advent of some of the big casual dining restaurants. I think the market started shifting to their perception of what value for money was. So the quality of the food became less of an issue. It was more the amount of food you were going to get for the price. And that, together with Food Network, I think wrecked our restaurant scene for a little while. I feel because everybody became a chef. Yet you would find that a chef would take 36 hours maybe to make a sauce, a nice demi-glace, and really take time to baby it and love it and go through all the technical steps correctly. And then somebody will compare that demi-glace to maybe a sauce that just came out of a jar. They wouldn't really know the difference, you know what I mean? That became a real frustration for people like myself. And this is why probably I kind of decided to try something different and get out of being an exec chef at the time and so on. Now coming back and opening my own restaurant here, there are still some of the constraints, but you can't really allow them to hold you back. You still have a responsibility to educate. And I have to say, so far with this restaurant at least, I have been pleasantly surprised more often than not. And I don't know if that means that the palates out there have become a little bit more discerning. I'm not sure, or if people are just maybe a little more willing to try different things again. Maybe, well, this whole thing is all about cycles anyway. So it may be that we're coming back into a nice time now where people want something a little bit different. Real chefs really only cook for one reason, which is to make people happy. But you want to do that in a way where you could show your skills off a bit. And as an artist, you see, where people think that when we say food is art, I think sometimes there's a little confusion with that statement, because people's perception then becomes such that it's only really art on the plate. That's what they focus on. But that's not what I see as art. Art to me is where a chef could really almost distill his essence in that moment, even what he's feeling at that moment, and find a way to express that through his food. So most of my food, while I will like most of the time to stay true and stay honest with technique and where you're coming from, it still is all rooted in comfort food anyway. It's something that I want somebody to relate to their grandmother, something the grandmother made for them, or their mother, or certainly something with childhood most of the time. Like I have a dish on here where we're doing a cassava pone, and I do a cassava cream, like a pastry cream basically with cassava, and then I reduce red solo and heavy cream together and put it into a nitrogen charger so that when it hits the plate, the red solo foam that hits the plate around the pone Napoleon feels what I really wanted to, what I wanted to feel like is when you're small and you lick the foam off your red sea drink, as I will say, right? So that's kind of what I go for. I try to go back to that so that people may not know that that's what they're connecting with, but they'll feel it. We haven't had a lot of French-based, heavy French technique restaurants in Trinidad. So it's a little bit, it's uncommon, and so is Indian at the end of the day. Now, the ultimate goal for us here was to bring the two things to one restaurant, but ultimately it's to get the two things on each plate. All right, and that will be something for maybe as we go along, just to start fusing the two. I'm already doing it. I mean, the lamb dish you would see. So the technique is a simple parsley crust technique, but I'm using tandoori spices. And the croquettes are regular croquettes, but we call them aloo choco croquettes. And the creamed spinach is a very Italian-y style thing, but we call it's cream bhaji for us at the end of the day. So there is that fusion on the plate already. Again, because I'm rooted in comfort food, I'm a kind of meat and potatoes kind of guy. But it does not, you know, I'll tell you something really strange. You know what is inspiring me a lot right now, and this will sound completely ridiculous, but something as simple as carrots. Just because I've been eating carrots with nothing else, just steaming them, and you forget that kind of, you know, God gives us everything we need right there in all of these things. So the balance of the sweetness and everything is already there. You forget what it tastes like, because in Trinidad especially we tend to really disguise everything with a whole set of other rubbish, right? So simple things, food in its simplest state is what inspires me. You know, there was a time when the restaurants were really together. There was a time when a lot of us chefs would have breakfast together on a Saturday morning, or we would go for dinner 1 o'clock in the morning after service. 3, 4, 5 chefs and their crews will get together, and it was lovely. And that's really what the restaurant business is about. I hope we could get back to that, and I think Restaurant Week is kind of helps to push us in that situation, because I've talked to more chefs in the last week than I've spoken to for the last 2 or 3 years. Literally, right? So that is a great thing, because I really want young cooks to never accept mediocrity and to really live at the highest level they could, really understand what it means to be a cook, not a chef, but a cook, and understand how exclusive that fraternity is. And you know, when you put your chef gear on in the day, you put it on your kind of your Superman uniform kind of thing. You know, I want them to feel that, and I don't feel like there's that connection with a lot of the young cooks coming into the market, you know. So maybe all those things will come from this type of experience. I think it certainly helps, because I don't know that we would do it on our own. I think that the food that we're doing is honest, and it's good quality cuisine. In terms of its technique and everything as well. We don't skip on ingredients for sure, and it's different. So I think it's worth a try, you know.